Hello and welcome to Saturday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we've got a puzzle today by Oddly Even called Product Distribution Network, with an interesting rule. I'm not sure we've seen a rule quite like this before, although it's possible we have, and I'm not remembering. And basically the way the rule works is that you take two digits or two squares with a line between them, and the product of the digit in the squares is equal to the sum of the digits on the line between the two squares. I think that's how it works anyway. Yeah, I think that's how it works. Now, it's got 3 stars out of 5 for difficulty, but one of the testers just thought this was lovely, so I'm looking forward to having a go at it, and that's what I plan to do in about 2 minutes' time. After I've mentioned a couple of things, we're streaming on Tuesday night. We're going back to Islands of Insight, which I'm actually really looking forward to. I was discussing with Mark yesterday whether we could stream it slightly more often because I want to play it. But I'm not sure I'm going to get my wish on that. But anyway, Tuesday night, 10 o'clock UK time. We'd love to have your company. Oh, just to mention, if you're watching this from, I think, the US, at least the US, I think you switch to daylight saving very soon, possibly tomorrow, possibly tonight, I'm not sure. But our videos will appear, I think, to be an hour later to you, but they're not changing. They're not changing from our perspective. They're still going to go out at 8:30 UK time. So it's not our fault if the videos seem out of sync for a few weeks anyway, until our clocks change. I don't think they've changed yet, or maybe they have. Now, what else can I tell you about? 1 or 2 things. Over on Patreon, we've got my mammoth solve, the longest Sudoku solve we've ever done. Some 2,500 of you have watched that already, which is incredible. And thank you for doing so. And then we've got our competition, our March competition, which is evening attractions. Hundreds and hundreds of you have managed to work your way through all of those puzzles. Very well done. If you haven't tried them yet, do have a go. All themed around negative constraints, and the feedback seems to be that they're a lot of fun. And you've got until the 20th of March to be in with a chance of winning the competition. Anything else? Yeah, birthdays. I've got a few birthdays to do today. I'll start with James. James, you've turned 47, and I know this because your good friend Paul wrote to us. And he described you, James, as being dear to all the gang in Ely, which that feels rather lovely, doesn't it? And apparently you've become a Sudoku addict after seeing our books. So, James, I'm delighted to hear that you've acquired this new hobby. It is quite addictive, and I hope you have a great birthday today with an enormous slab of chocolate cake, of course. Next, over there in the Netherlands, Bokke, perhaps? And apparently your nickname is Mbokke? I don't know how I'm meant to say this. But your friends Pauline and Joris wanted me to attempt to pronounce in the most Dutch way possible your nickname. So I did my best. I'm sorry if I've messed that up, and I hope you have a great birthday today. But also Pauline, I remember, broke her ankle terribly badly, I think a few months ago. And we had an email about that from Emma, if I'm not mistaken. Well, Emma, it's your birthday tomorrow. And Pauline wanted me to say happy birthday to you and to thank you for being an invaluable friend. And apparently she's going to make you pancakes when you see her this coming week. So that is something to look forward to. Pancakes. When I was young, pancakes were my favourite food with sugar and lemon. In fact, they might still be my favourite food. But they have to be proper pancakes, of course. Crepes, basically. That's what I consider a proper pancake to be. I won't broker any argument about that. But Emma, happy birthday, and I hope you enjoy the pancakes. And then finally, oh yes, we got a wonderful email from Fenner Otter, who is the wife of Orin Otter. Now, some of you may know the name Orin Otter, because if you peruse our comments, on a lot of days, Orin Otter writes a limerick about the video. They're really good as well, so you should check those out. But there was a lot about Fenner's email that I liked. I liked the fact she called me Rhymin' Simon, which loosely connects me with one of my idols, Paul Simon. Anyway, Fenner wanted a shout out for 3 of her favourite men. in the following form. Apparently, these three guys have their birthdays today, tomorrow, and on Monday. So March the 9th, 10th, and 11th. So in a sort of rhyme, Fener writes, Sudoku guys 1, 2, and 3, Firoz also Orin and Lee, 11, 10, 9 for this father-son line. Happy birthdays consecutively from mum, wife, in-law, which is me. Very nicely done. Very nicely done, Fener. Apparently Orin likes vanilla cake, and Fener's going to make sure that the cake will have the correct cake to frosting ratio, followed by the appropriate dose of insulin, which made me smile. And then a beautiful turn of phrase. Fener said that if I'd like to join for cake, it's only a short walk from England to Colorado if you travel by imagination, which is beautiful. I love that I can travel and have cake with you by the medium of imagination. So Fener, thank you for that, and to all of your men, I wish many happy returns. Anyway, let's turn our attention to Sudoku solving and have a look at product distribution network. These are the official rules of Oddly Even's puzzle. Normal Sudoku rules apply, so we have to put the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. Digits along a line sum to the product of the digits in the squares at either end of the line. If it is the same square, multiply that digit with itself. Oh, hang on, what does that mean? Oh, right, that must be this one. Right, okay, so this digit, there's only one square. Yeah, so this line sort of emanates from this square and then goes back into it. So this square has to be literally a square. Oh, well, no, the value of this square will become a square, because if we put 5 in there, which we can't actually, but let's say we did put 5 in there, we'd multiply it by itself, we'd get 25, and those 3 digits would have to sum to 25. I will leave it as an exercise to the viewer to work out why that won't be the answer, but that's definitely not going to work. But that's how that works. The sum does not include the digits in the squares. Okay, yeah, I'd understood that. So these two, for example, we multiply them together and they equal the sum of those two. Yeah, that's. I think I did state that correctly. Digits may repeat on a line if permitted by the other rules. Well, they can't repeat on that vertical segment of line because that's all in the same column. But there are lines that sort of bend. So those 2 digits could be the same, for example, or indeed those 2. Or indeed those 2. Something like that's possible. Anyway, do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual, but now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And I am tempted to look at this ginormous segment of line there, where the secret may avail us, mightn't it? Yeah, actually isn't that right? Okay, so I think that is probably where we are meant to start. Let's just have a quick think about this purple segment. So we know that the digits in these 2 squares, let's just make those green. Oh, that's quite nice. Yeah, make those green for a moment. So we multiply them together to arrive at the sum of all of these squares. But we can use a secret, can't we, to try and help us to work out the sum of the purple digits. And I think that is going to be useful, because we can actually use the rules of Sudoku to tell us the value of those yellow squares. Those yellow squares are a complete row of the Sudoku, so they're going to have the digits 1 to 9 once each in them, and the sum of the digits 1 to 9 is 45, a secret I only share with my very favourite people. Don't worry, if you're watching this video, you're definitely one of my favourite people. So 45 is the sum of these, but also 45 is the sum of the whole of column 1, isn't it? Now, why is that interesting to me? Well, if we add up all the purples and we add up all the yellows, we get to 90. Now obviously we've double counted this digit in arriving at 90. But there's no way we can make these two multiply together to give. If we make these double 9, we get 81. So in fact, this is all forced. We're going to get 3 9s given to us straight away. This must be a 9. That is the only way of making it possible to put numbers into these squares that can work, because we can't make this bigger than 9, and by making it a 9, the sum of all of the yellow and all of the purple is 45 plus another 45 minus the digit that appears twice, so it's 81, and we can't make these multiply together to more than 81. So we have found an equilibrium, and that is very good. Now we can get rid of the green highlighting then, and we can do some Sudoku. Look, so there's got to be a 9 in one of those, there's got to be a 9 in one of these. Yeah, I was just wondering whether it is possible to put 9 into this square, because I think there's only one way that's possible, and that's if this is a 1. Okay, that's not possible then. Right, for a different reason. So what I was wondering about is, obviously if this is 9 and this is not a 1, then we're adding up, well, the product of these two squares would be 18 or 27 or some ludicrously higher number. And there's no way we can make these two digits add up to 18 even, because even if they were 8 and 9, they'd only add up to 17. So the only way this can be a 9 is if this is a 1. Now this can't be a 1 because of these two squares. Because if this was a 1, well, whatever we put in there, say we put 5 in there, the product is 5, and that would have to repeat in this square. So this is not a 1, so that is not a 9. So 9 is on this line. Okay, and that frees up the value of these somewhat. But now these two must be under pressure, mustn't they? Yes, one of these is a 2 now. Right, so what? Okay, this is a very long-winded way of working this out, but what we've effectively worked out is that neither of these squares can be a 1, because that will cause a repeated digit. This square will repeat with one of the squares. So, could these not include a 2? Well, the only way they couldn't include a 2 would be if they were, the minimum they could then be would be 3 and 4. And 3 times 4 is 12, which I can't write into a Sudoku cell. So there must be a 2 in one of these. And that's actually going to have a low digit with it. It can't be 2, 5, can it? Because we can't write 10 in here. So these squares are from 2, 3 and 4. And this square is 6 or 8. Now... okay, I'm not sure what to do with that. What about that then? Maybe we are meant to think about this square. I was wondering about that when I worked out that we couldn't put 5 in it in the example. We can't put 2 in this, can we? Because 2 times 2 is 4. And the minimum these 3 Sudoku digits could add up to would be a 1, 2, 3 triple, which is 6. So this has to, the square of this number has to be more than 6. So it's either 3 or 4. Now if it's 3, these add up to 9 without using 3 again. So they can't be 2, 3, 4, and they can't be 1, 3, 5. So if this is 3, this is 1, 2, 6. And if this is 4, these have to add up to 16. I'm not sure. If they added up to 16 plus 4 is 20, these would be 25. There might be something going on between these again. But that looks complicated to work that out, so I'm going to shy away from that, if you don't mind. I might come back to it if I can't do anything else. But let's just try, and that one is also 3 or 4. That's exactly the same as this one, isn't it? It's got this same shape emanating from one box. Okay. Sorry, I realise I'm not saying anything. It's because I can't see anything easy. 9 in box 9 is in those 3 squares. So what have we got here? We've got 81 is the sum of all of those. But we do know the value of this is 3 or 4. I was going to say we can't put double 1 in the corner, but that's not true, is it? We can't put double 1 in the corner if that's a 3, because that's going to stop that being 1, 2, 6. It might be better to think about 8s and 7s, actually. Because we might have to have 8 and 7 on these lines to get up as high as 81. Maximum sum of those is 24, isn't it? So what's the maximum sum of these cells? And it's going to be that we're going to get the same number for these, aren't there? The same number of cells. So it's 5 digits, but we can't include 9. So it's 87654 is the maximum, which is 30. So the maximum of the red digits plus the yellow digits is 60. So these have to add up to 21 at least. Yeah, so there's 3 degrees of freedom, because I could make these add up. I could make these add up as high as 24. So if I knock, so I can't knock 8 or 7 out of the red or the yellow string, because if I knock 8 out, I'm going to be replacing the 8 in that string with 7654 with a 3. And 8 and 3 are 5 apart. So it's not going to work. I mean, let's do that slowly to check that my maths hasn't totally deserted me. But if there was no 8 in this sequence, I'm saying the maximum value of it now is 765, 4 and 3, which I think is 25. 18 and 7 was what I got when I did it in my head. Yeah, so that's 25. Again, plus 30. Let's say this was maxed out. So we're now at 55. Plus 24 is 79. So so my degrees of freedom counting has worked there. Okay, and the same is going to be true with 7, isn't it? So if we don't have 7 in the sequence and we replace the 7 with the 3, we lose 4 degrees of freedom, and that's still no good. So there is 8 and 7 in here, and there is 8 and 7 in here, and the reason that interests me is I don't think that can be a 4 anymore. Because if that's a 4, and I'm trying to make 16 from 3 digits that don't include 9, 8 or 7, I can't do it, because 6, 5 and 4 only add up to 15. And we couldn't even make them 6, 5, 4 because we'd have used the 4 there. So this is a 3, and this is 1, 2, 6. Which, well now 6. I can't believe 6 can go in the corner. Surely that's going to nick too many degrees of freedoms. If we put 6 in the corner, we're losing 6 from both strings and replacing it in both cases with a maximum of 3. So we lose 3 degrees of freedom twice, and that we've only got 3 degrees of freedom. So we can't do that. But okay, so the 6 is going to take all the degrees of freedom. Yeah, because one of these is a 6, it's going to point at the yellow or the red sequence and knock it downwards. Look, I'll show you. It will become a maximum of this. And I think now that will have to be maxed, and this will have to be 9, 7, 8. Maybe that's the point, that this has to be 7, 8, 9. But let's check the mathematics. So let's imagine this was 6. Now, if this is 6, the maximum size of this now is 27. I did that very quickly in my head, and that does seem to be right. So 27 and 30 is 57, and this can be a maximum of 7, 8, 9, which gets us up to exactly 81. Yes, okay, so this is the world we're living in. We don't know the order yet, but we know these are 7, 8, 9. We know there's a 6 in one of these, and whichever one of these is 6 causes its coloured segment to be 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, and on the other segment you're going to have a maximum. You're going to have 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So if that's 6, this is a 1 or a 2. But if that's the case, this is a 1, 2 pair. Well, I can pronounce, and this will be a joy to some of you and a joy for me, and irritating for some of you, and I apologise for that. But I can tell you now there will be a 3 in the corner of this puzzle. Because there will, effectively. Because in the column that doesn't have the 6 in it, so say this was the 6, this will be a 1, 2 pair, and that string will have to be 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, which will plonk a 3 in the corner there. But if it's the other way round and that's a 6, there will be a 3 in the corner there. Right, so I don't really know how to pencil mark that. There is a 3 in one of those squares. If it was here, that would be, this would be an 8, because this would be a 2, 4 pair. Oh, no. Right, this one is where we go now. This is very clever, by the way. I love this, because it's interesting, new rules that sort of work in surprising ways. Right, so what we worked out, let's fully pencil mark the corners. We worked out they were from 1, 2, and 3. In one instance, there's a 1 or a 2 in the corner. In the other instance, there's a 3 in the corner, but we don't know which way round they go. But now, that can't be 3, can it? Because 3 we know goes with 1, 2, 6. So if this was 3, that would have no fill. So that's 4. Does that not do anything? Oh, bobbins. Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought that would be very useful. Oh, no, alright, it does do something. It gives me a 4 there in box 9. I wasn't thinking about Sudoku. That looks like it's a 5. Right. So 4 is... oh dear, I don't know. Does that do anything else? What were the strings? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 and 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 and 8, 7, 5, 4, 3. Oh, okay. So that 4 there is knocking 4 out of these. Okay, so it's this that does it with this now. That's great. Right, so this is 2 times 3, so that's 6. This is a 1 in the corner, which means that is a 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the corner. That's 3 in the spotlight, losing its religion. This is a 1. This is a 2. This is a 6. And that should be... Oh, well, it doesn't really tell us, does it? So these squares have to be the balance of the row. So they're 5, 6, 7, and 8. And these are 3, 4, 7, and 8. And that one's not 3. And... oh, bobbins. That's... there's a 3 in one of those squares by Sudoku. A 4 in one of these squares by Sudoku. And now we will argue about... probably going to look at that square next, I think. But I'm going to... let me just think about other things. Do we know the nature of this line? That's adding up to 16, and it doesn't use a 9. So, does it have to have 8 on it or not? If it didn't have 8 on it, it would be 7, 6. No, 7, 6, 3 doesn't work. We've got 3 in the corner stopping that. And 7, 5, 4 doesn't work because that 4 stops that. Right, so there is an 8 on this line. Actually, that's not 8. Two is in one of those cells by Sudoku. 6 is in one of these cells by Sudoku. Oddly even is outrageous if you're going to make me do Sudoku in your Sudoku puzzle. But is it this one then? I thought it might be this one because I've got such a high multiplier thing here. I mean, what can that be? It can't be 2 or 3. Because what we're doing there is we're adding 4 different numbers. So if that was 2, I mean the minimum sum of these digits, given we can't use 4 in them, is 11, I think. 1, 2, 3, and 5. So this clearly can't be a 2. Now, if it's a 3, it might not work either, because these can't be... well, these are 1, 2, 5, 6 as a minimum. And that's 14, isn't it? That's more than 12. You say, yeah, you definitely can't make these add up to 12 if you can't use 3 and 4. So that digit up here is at least equal to 5, but it's not equal to 6. So if it's not 5, it's at least 7. And 7 would be 28 for these squares without using 9. Is that can't be right. 8, 7, 6 and 5 is 26. That's not possible. Right, so this is 5. And these multiply together. Blue multiplies together to give 20. Plus 5 and 4 is 29. Plus 9 is 38. And that means those two squares, which are the balance of the column, have to sum to the difference between 38 and the secret, which is 45, and that is 7. And if you're going to make 7 without using 4 or without using 5, you must use 6 and 1, and that can't be a 1, so that's a 6. This is a 1. There's a 1 in one of these 3 squares. 6 is in one of those squares by Sudoku. These 2 squares add up to 15 and don't involve a 9 and do involve an 8. So these are 7 and 8. There's a 7, 8, 9 triple in this row now, so that can't be a 9 because the 9 in the triple must be exactly, well, it must be in this domino, so it can't be here. That gives me a 7, 8 pair in row thingy, row 8. Technical term for row thingy. Oh, my phone is buzzing at me. Do I need to deal with that? No, I will try not to. That's not 7. Okay. So how has that helped us? Yeah, I see. Let's look at this square. Because that can't be a 2. Because then these 4 squares would have to add up to 10 without using a 2. And the minimum they could add up to would be 1, 3, 4 and 6, which I want to say is 14, but it's definitely not 10. So that's got to be a 3, and now by maths we'll be able to work out this square. because these add up to 15, plus 5 plus 3 is 23, plus another 15 is 38, so that's a 7. So 8 is now in one of these squares by Sudoku because of the 8 here, which means that's not 8. Now, can we do any better than that? What are those two squares? They're from 2, 5 and 6. Oh, well, a little bit. Yeah, we can do a little bit. That can't be 5. That can't be 6. Eight, no, nearly. 8 is in one of those squares in box 3. So 8 is on the line in box 2. And oh, I don't know what to do. Now we will argue about... No, I really don't know where to look now. Oh, hang on, if that's 3, that's 2, isn't it? How did I get that this was 3? I don't know. When did I get this digit? How did I disambiguate those? I'm just going to go back because I don't think I trust that. Oh yeah, no, I did get that. That's fine. That's fine. That's from this line, wasn't it? I worked out this couldn't be a 2. So that is now a 2. Right, so 2 is in one of those cells by Sudoku. So 2 is in one of these squares by Sudoku. And... right, so how does this line work then? Is this where we're meant to look now? I'm not sure. Before I had quite a good feeling about doing those two, but now I'm not so sure. I mean, maybe these two. I do know this has got 9 on the line. Right, so it's a 9. Ah, I know where the 6 goes, don't I? Is that right or not? Because what I'm thinking is... these are multiplying together to give an even number. That's where my brain is taking me there. And an even number, given I know there's a 9 on this line, that 9 must accompany an odd number in order to get back to an even number. So we can't put 6 on this line, it wouldn't work. So I think that's got to be a 6, and that's got to be 3 and 9 to make the mathematics work. So this square is not a 6 anymore. There is a 1 on the line in row 2 by Sudoku. If there's a 3 on this line, there's a 3 up here. So this is a 2-3 pair. These squares are now known. They are a 1-4-8 triple, which means that's an 8. All my pencil marking's gone awry. So let's put the 1-4 pair in. That's now become a 7. These are not 7 anymore. That square is known. That square is a 5, I think. We haven't put 5 into this row. 5 is in one of these squares. Those cells at the top are 4 and 8, which we know the order of. So that's 4. That's got to be 8. That's got to be 8, 7, 9. They all go into the grid. That becomes 8. That becomes 7. Suddenly the puzzle's getting easier. That 3 is giving me those two digits. These squares are now known. 1, 4, 8 triple. So we should know, yeah, we do know these. 2, 5 and 7. Wow. that was exciting. Now these squares are 1, 5 and 6, look. So probably that can't be a 1, I'm going to claim. If that was a 9 and that was a 1, yeah, these add up to at least 10. They're 4 different numbers, so that definitely can't be a 1. It's quite a big number then, that. 5 or 6. And those squares are now 2, 7 and 9. So that one and that one might be under pressure. It's more likely to be these two, I think. Is that right? I mean, if that was 9, then this line is adding up to at least 45. Well, the maximum they can add up to is 30. So that's not going to work because that can't be a 15. Right, so this is not 9. It's probably, well, let's think about it. What is it then? It's not 8 or 7. If it's 6, 6 might be possible actually. If that was 36 and they added up to 30-ish, well, there could well be a distillation of these numbers that seems to add up to enough for me. And that could always be a 5 as well. Okay, so maybe I can't take that much further. Oh, what are those digits? 237? Let's put those in case that leads to any inspiration striking. Oh, inspiration don't live here no more. I don't know how to do that. What about... I'm not sure. Maybe that's that square. Is that where we're meant to look now? What? 2, 4, 2, 4, 5, or 9? And that's going with this one. Ah, but that digit's quite little. That digit is 1, 2, 3, or 6. So if the maximum size of those is 12, so we can't have 9. Ah, yeah, here's the point. Neither of these can be a 1. So there's no way we can have 9 in either of these, because it's going to be multiplied by at least a 2 to get to 18, and these can't get big. These cannot be big enough. So these are definitely not 9s. It's probably quite difficult for that to be a 7. If that's a 7, 14 is the minimum, and the maximum of these is 12. Right, so that's a 2. And this one, well, I don't think that can be a 5, because 10, how would I make these two add up to 10 from the options available? I don't think we can do it. So we can't double 5 it, and we can't 6 4 it, so nothing works, so that's not 5. If this is 4, we need 8. 6 2 would work, 5 3 would work. Okay, so 8 might be possible. If this is 2, these would be 4, wouldn't they? These would have to add up to 4. 3 1 would work. Bother. Bother. Okay, so that's not resolved. Okay. 9, though, is now on... 9 is on this line. What's the value of this? Oh, that could be big. Oh, no, we worked out that couldn't be big. Oh, no, or did we work... How did we work? Oh, yeah, we did. We worked out this couldn't be 9, didn't we? So maybe these two are where we're meant to look next. Not sure. What are the possible values of this square? I think it's got loads of values actually. 1, 4, 5, 6, 9. Ugh. It probably can't be 1. No, it can't be 1 because even if this is 4, there's definitely 9 on the line. It's definitely not 1. If it's 9, what's the value of this one? This one is low, because this one's better than that one actually, because the 6 knocks the 6 possibility out of there. So this is only 1, 2, or 3. So what's the maximums? Oh, these could have 5 on them, could they? Yeah. Okay, so the maximum size of these is 14, if these were 9 and 5. And the maximum size of this is 3. So we could get to 17 here. But that's still not enough for this to be a 9. That cannot be 9. Oh, which we'd already worked out because of this juncture. So sorry, this is 4, 5, or 6. Now, how do we do this then? We know that the minimum these add up to. Oh, no, this can't be 2, can it? How could this be 2? That doesn't work. No, it's very straightforward actually. Sorry, I'm just being a bit slow here. If that's 2, we know this is 5. So this is a 4-9 pair, which is 13 already, plus at least 1. So that's 14. But if this is 2, this can't be 7. So that is 4. Which is not actually doing as much as I hoped. But it probably does now when we revisit this. This can't be 6 because 24 is impossible here because this is so low. Now can it be 5? 20? No, because the maximum size of these is 9 and 5, isn't it? We just worked out this has a maximum of 17. So that's double. This line is double 4 actually, which is 16. Now there probably aren't a million ways of doing this. What are the options for these? 2, 5 and 9. So, yeah, okay, so we need to get to 16. So we can't, this must be 9, 5, and that must be 2. That's the only way that can work, and that gives us this digit, and therefore this digit. All of those fall into place at last. So these squares are a 1-3 pair by Sudoku now. So 3 in this column is in one of those 3 cells. Bobbins. Oh, these add up to 8. No, multiply to give 8 now. So that can't be a 1. And this can't be a 1. So that becomes a 3. That's a 1, and therefore that's a 5. That's a 6, and that's a 1. Beautiful. Now I know this multiplication. That's got to be 24. Wow, that feels... Oh, hang on. Look, no, I was going to say that feels very open-ended, but I've realised suddenly I can get a bit more done on this line, where I need to put 6 and 9 onto it. So of my 24, I've now got 15. So I need another 9 into those 3 squares without it being 1, 2, 6. Oh, and I need a 3. Yeah, because once these 3 squares we've worked out add up to 9 by maths, but they don't use 6. So there are 2 possibilities left, which are 2, 3, 4 and 1, 3, 5. Both of those have a 3 in. So that is 3, which... oh... which actually isn't helpful. Well, it's not very helpful. So if they were 1, 5, they would be in that order. And if they were 2, 4, they would be in that order. Okay. Bother, I think is the phrase we're looking for. These are not 3s anymore. There could well be some way of resolving that. I'm just not seeing it quickly. This is not 1. This is not 5. And from that we will deduce, 6 here means this is 6 and this is 9. Didn't see that. So that's 9 and that's 7. So this is 2. That's useful, actually. Because that 2 knocks this down. This has got to be it's not 2, 3, 4, so it's got to be 1, 5, 8, 5, 1, 4. Oh, this is... oh, we're doing better. 1 has to be there now by Sudoku, so that's 8, that's 4. So that's 4 by Sudoku. That's 5. This is finishing. This is finishing off. That's 5 in the top row. We're left with 2, 7 here. We can do that. 2, 7. 8 goes in here. 6, 7. 3, 9 is resolved. Okay, in this column, I should be able to do that, shouldn't I? That's 9. Oh, that's on the line. Is that surprising? Maybe not. And in this column, I need 6 7s and 8s. Oh, so I've got a very big... That's very surprising. This is going to have to be a tie. That's probably got to be a 2 now, I would think. Because we're multiplying these two together. So if this was a 3 even, it would be at least 18. And we can't make these add up to 18. So that is 2. Oh, I thought that was just going to finish it off, but... I'm not sure it does. Right, so what are the options then? These add up to at least... Oh, well, these have to add up to an even number. So that's got to be a 7. Because we're multiplying 2 by a number here. So obviously we need an even total. So that's 6, that's 6, that's 7. That's now become 8. Now, that does work. So 2 times 8 is 16. 9 plus 7 is 16. So that should do it. 8, 3. Lovely finish. 3, 7. Boom. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What a lovely... Oh, I didn't see how many people. Was it about 70? 70 people, roughly, have solved this. And that is gorgeous. It's an absolutely gorgeous puzzle. Product distribution network. Yeah, I don't know if I have seen exactly that rule before. Perhaps I have. But I don't remember it. And I thought that was... It was really... It had a lovely flow, didn't it? The start was quite cute. A little bit of secretage. Yeah, and this was very cunning. The way that this worked was really interesting with this sort of squaring digit. And what did I manage after that? There was something after that. Oh, yeah, no, I really liked this. Yes, yes. It was this squaring digit, forcing this... well, making this a 4. There was something after that Was it that one? I can't remember. Yeah, there was just a lot of very nice interplay between the numbers. And yeah, it was just a beautiful puzzle. Much enjoyed. Thank you, Oddly Even. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.